Assalamu alaikum everybody and welcome to OGRA. Honorable Authority, esteemed participants, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the seminar on unlocking the potential, navigating the future of LNG in Pakistan. With the permission of the Authority, the Honorable Chairman, Mr. Masroor Khan, the Honorable Member Oil, Mr. Zainul Abidin, the Honorable Member Finance, Mr. Naeem Bori. We start this seminar with the recitation of Holy Quran, followed by the national anthem.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدع اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Imran Akhtar, and I am an Executive Director in OGRA, heading the LNG department. It is an honor for us to arrange this seminar to explore the dynamic landscape of liquefied natural gas and its transformative role in shaping global energy future. The global energy paradigm is undergoing rapid evolution. In this era of transition, LNG has emerged as an opportunity, offering a clean, efficient, and versatile solution to meet our energy demands. LNG faces increasing competition from renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power, which continue to become more cost competitive and is gaining traction in global energy mix. However, LNG still plays a crucial role in providing reliable energy supply, especially during periods of high demand and when renewable sources are not readily available. Overall, LNG remains a significant player in the energy landscape, offering a cleaner alternative than traditional fossil fuel and contributing to the global energy security and diversification. However, its future standing will depend on factors such as technological advancements, regulatory framework, policies, and market dynamics. In view of the declining natural gas reserves and increase in demand, Pakistan needs to seek the potential of LNG to fuel its economic growth, enhance energy security, and foster sustainable development. However, realizing this potential requires a concerted effort, collective vision, and strategic collaboration between public and private sectors. Today, we have convened this seminar to delve deep into the merit facets of LNG, from policy, regulatory framework, storage, regasification, transportation, pricing to consumption. Through insightful discussions and interactive sessions, we aim to unravel the complexities and discuss the challenges. Our esteemed panel of speakers, comprising industry leaders, policymakers, experts, and stakeholders, will share their knowledge, experience, and perspectives, offering invaluable insight into the opportunities and the obstacles that lie ahead. I request you to actively engage, exchange ideas, and collaborate towards unlocking the full potential of LNG in Pakistan for building a brighter, cleaner, and more prosperous future for generations to come. Coming to the brief of the program, we have professionals from various organizations who shall give 15 minutes presentation on different topics pertaining to the LNG sector. Lunch and prayer break shall be from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And then the presentations shall continue till 3 p.m. Followed by an open house wherein our learned panelists shall give their insight and answer the questions of the participants. We have very seasoned and experienced professionals, which include CEOs and senior officers from Engro, PGPCL, Energas, LNG Easy, LNG Flex, SNGPL, SSGC, PSO, PLL, and a regulatory expert. We shall give introduction to the presenters and the panelists as the event proceeds. We also have participation online through Zoom link. I request them to type the question in the comment box, which shall be addressed when we reach the question answer session. Now I request Member Oil, Mr. Zainul Abidin, to give the opening remarks.
Assalamu alaikum, and a very warm welcome to all the distinguished guests that we have today here. We are honored at OGRA. We are honored to host such a seminar and to host such distinguished professionals from the industry. We basically has held this seminar just to discuss an industry that is deemed to progress at a very faster rate, but practically we are not seeing the realization at the speed that it is envisaged. Looking at the gas market, because LNG, liquefied natural gas, is replacing the depleting natural gas reserves of any importing country. So when we see at the Pakistani market, we see that it is very attracting for the professionals or investors of the energy industry, because nowadays the energy in all its forms, be it electrical, gases, fuels, or liquid fuels, is all scarce in the country, in our country, Pakistan. So that's demand a big potential, because now we are at a turning point that we have to basically develop to sustain, and to develop and to compete, we need energy. So now, precisely looking at the gas market, because our today's theme is unlocking the potential of the LNG. we see that we have a humongous demand of around 6 BCF, billion cubic feet per day. And what we have seen in the last 5 to 7 years is that our reserves that we were producing the gas, we went up to 4.5 BCF in few years back, but now depleting we came to 3, and as of April, we are, I think, at 2.9 BCF, BCFT. So that's an alarming thing with respect to that. And that also calls for the replacement fuels to come and get the share of the depleting gas market. So unlocking, I would also just talk a little bit about from another angle too, that we are discussing today not only the unlocking the potential of the LNG, that is the gas market in Pakistan, but also we should think, just a point of ponder for the professors that here, that we should also think that we have only, unfortunately, we have only one port available to import all the dry and the wet cargo. So that has created a mess at our port, Qasim port. So unless we have been approaching the federal government and all the concerned quarters for this thing, and we hope that the Gwadar or a nearby port may be developed. But today's focus is not that. So coming back to the LNG and the gas market. So in this depleting gas market, what has happened? That we have different type of customers, the domestic ones, household, the commercial segment, and the industrial segment. At all comprises the whole of the gaseous fuel market. So what LNG can attract, as it is costly, definitely does not attract the domestic market. That all the concerns of the federal government would always be focused on the thing that the cheaper fuel must be given to the domestic. That is the most vulnerable stakeholder. So what has left to? We have then left with the commercial and the industrial segment. And most of, we know, if we see at the energy mix, most of the part of this gas market is held by mainly by the power and fertilizer, and then by the general industry and the CNG or some other segment. So as we know that we are planning, we have issued licenses, and we hope that LNG will come into the Pakistan market mainly to two different mechanisms. One is the FSRU, when you get it and you degasify, convert from the liquid to gas, and then send it into the pipelines, or the virtual concept. So I will also invite people to see also the what their targeted audience is. So they are then close and realistic to their business potential. The commercial segment is more prone to LPG, and industry there, the small industry segments present in various clusters across the country, that invites a big prospect for especially for the virtual LNG market. So from that perspective too, we should be more focused, the upcoming players, that about what they are targeting and what the potential is there. The potential is already there. You just confine your efforts towards your targeted segment. And I will not be there hindrance for a long time before you and the presenters. And we hope that the people, all we have here and all that we have on the Zoom, will enjoy this this seminar today. And we hope that this gives a place to discuss and purify or better our concepts about this segment that was very needed, necessary, as we thought. So thank you very much for all of you, and over to Imran, please. Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum and very welcome to all of you. Without much ado, I would like to start the proceedings of today's seminar The first speaker is Mr. Imran Akhtar. Currently, he is heading LNG department. He has 28 years diverse experience in technical, regulatory, managerial, and hands-on experience in the field of natural gas, UFG control, natural gas measurement, LNG, LPG licensing, and much more. He will cover overview of the global and local LNG market, policy and regulatory framework shaping the LNG industry, future outlook for LNG in Pakistan. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Imran Akhtar.
Now coming to the first part of the presentation, that is an overview of the global and local LNG market. All right, sorry. The outlook for 2023, the demand side for LNG has been strong, and it was driven by factors such as urbanization, industrialization, and shift toward cleaner energy sources. Countries like China, India, and Japan remain the key drivers of LNG. There has been supply expansions and several new liquefaction projects came online, mainly in the United States, Australia, and Russia. Prices kept fluctuating and were influenced by factors such as oil prices, geopolitical tensions, and weather patterns. There have been technological advancements in the liquefaction and regasification processes. Overall, the global LNG outlook for 2023 was positive. Now, this shows a snapshot for global LNG outlook, and the source is Gignell Report 2024. In 2023, there was a trade of 401 million tons of LNG. 51 FSRUs are available worldwide, 20 exporting countries, and the top exporters were America, Australia, Qatar, Russia, and Malaysia. 48 importing countries. Top importers were China, Japan, South Korea, India, France. 772 active LNG vessels, 481 million tons per annum of global liquefaction capacity, and 1143 million tons per annum of global regasification capacity. This shows the global LNG consumption. China consumed the most, followed by Japan, South Korea, India, France, Taiwan, and so on and so forth. This shows the global LNG storage capacity, which has reached to 77 million cubic meters as in April 2023. Japan has the highest storage capacity, followed by China, South Korea, Spain, India, and so on and so forth. Now, there have been certain latest developments in the global LNG scenario. Japan has been the largest importer, and its falling LNG demand is creating a shift in the LNG market. Japan is marketing and reselling LNG overseas because of the Japanese contracts without destination restrictions. This will put Japan directly in competition with entrenched global suppliers such as Qatar Energy, Shell, Schnee Energy, etc. Its domestic usage has dropped to 14 years low, and the primary reason for this dip is the restart of the nuclear reactors, which were shut down after the 2011 Fukushima nuclear meltdown. 11 such reactors of 10.7 gigawatt capacity have come online, and the remaining are going to resume operation. Now, this extra Japanese LNG will add to an already forecasted oversupply in the global market until 2030. And this will increase to 40%, and that's mainly due to the ramped up US and Qatari LNG projects. It is hoped that the LNG demand will also increase almost double by 2040. And Europe will benefit from this because of the shortfall caused by the Russian gas pipeline. This new LNG capacity will also bring the prices down. Presently, the price is around $12 per MMBTU, which was more than $70 per MMBTU in August 2022. Now, this LNG price decrease and global increase in production can be seen as an opportunity for setting up new projects in Pakistan and expansion of business. Coming to the present status of LNG sector in Pakistan, 2 LNG regasification terminals are presently operational, and the capacity has been hired by the government of Pakistan. 2 new project developers have been granted construction licenses. However, they have not taken an FID. 10 virtual pipeline projects have applied for a license, and 5 have been granted provisional licenses. One of these project developer is at an advanced stage, and we hope that it may become operational by the end of 2024. Regarding LNG imports, PSO has 2 long-term contracts with Qatar at 10.2 and 13.3% of the Brent. PLL has 1 long-term contract with ENI at 12.14% of Brent. Total 9 to 10 cargoes are imported by PSO, and the amount of LNG purchased by Pakistan in 2023 was around $3.7 billion. Coming to the second part of the presentation, that is the critical role of policy and the regulatory framework. Generally speaking, policy and regulatory framework play a crucial role in fostering investment. First of all, it provides certainty. It helps managing risks. It promotes competition. It balances stakeholders' interests. It helps in ensuring security and reliability. It encourages investment, and it helps in monitoring and evaluation. Overall, robust policy and regulatory framework provide the foundation for a well-functioning economy. Now, there's a need for revisiting the LNG policy and the regulatory framework. The LNG policy presently in place is of 2011. Except 2 government-guaranteed terminals, no other private sector LNG project has come online. Moreover, there has been immense changes in the global LNG scenario. Therefore, we need to revisit the policy and rules to attract more foreign investment. And the grounds for that are as follows. New project structures have emerged, like FSU, FSRU, land-based LNG storage, LNG truck loading facilities, LNG virtual pipelines, floating platforms, cryogenic pipelines, jettyless systems, bulk breaking, LNG as a vehicular fuel, LNG for domestic and commercial use. Also, project structures like transfer of LNG through cryogenic houses, cryogenic pipelines, from SPM to land-based facilities for handling draft LNG carriers, avoiding port congestion and jetty requirements. Then the LNG projects are not required to be defined explicitly in the policy as done in LNG policy 2011. Rather, the project structure should be as per the requirement of the project developer, and the regulator has to see its prudence and applicability before issuance of the license. Defining mode of LNG imports is not needed. It can be as per the requirement. It could be spot, term, G2G, LNG filled containers, small parcels, etc. Least possible requirements should be set for the grant of provisional license. Technical codes and standards needs to be reviewed because of the changes in the LNG global scenario. The virtual pipelines and transportation during cryogenic browsers should be defined with clarity and may be a separate item in the LNG policy and the OGRA rules. A policy framework for use of LNG as a vehicular fuel and domestic commercial fuel as an alternate for LPG also needs to be considered by the government of Pakistan. The large-scale LNG-based terminals with facilities like regasification, connectivity to the transmission pipeline, truck loading, etc., is required to be encouraged. For liberalization of gas market, third-party access and gas infrastructure needs to be implemented in the supply chain, keeping in view the excess unused capacities. Although the risk for the SOEs and the implications under the long-term LNG sales and purchase agreements needs to be seen, may be kept in mind. So in short, we need, to my understanding, we need to have this policy and the regulatory framework reviewed. And I recommend that the federal government may consider that a committee may be formed, which includes sector experts, representative from the federal government, and regulator for this purpose, and in consultation with the relevant stakeholders. Now coming to the third part, that is the future outlook of LNG in Pakistan. These figures show the current gas demand supply situation and the projected supply in the next 10 years. And the source is natural gas licenses. If we see it in a graphical form, the bottom line shows the committed and anticipated supplies. Oh, graphical form maybe. Oh. This is going to be published in the next annual report of OGRA. This has not been published yet. These are all projected figures. And now if we see this, the demand supply scenario in the projected figures, it shows that the committed and anticipated supplies will decrease to 1 BCF in the next 10 years' time. Even if we account for LNG, IP and TAPI pipeline, the constrained demand is higher. Although I am of the view that this constrained demand needs to be taken with a pinch of salt. And the reason for that being that all the infrastructure development, the policies and the planning is dependent upon these figures, and they need to be thoroughly scrutinized by the experts so that we can come to a more realistic projections for the next 10 years. Now, in view of that, in view of the declining indigenous gas reserves, lack of substantial new discoveries and non-implementation of the interstate pipelines, future outlook of LNG sector appears positive. However, it will depend on various factors, including government policies, energy demand trends, global energy market dynamics, and infrastructure development. Achieving sustainable growth in LNG sector will require coordinated effort from the government, industrial stakeholders, and international partners to address challenges and capitalize on opportunities in the evolving global energy landscape. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Imran Saab, for enlightening us. Next presentation on the supply and demand of natural gas and LNG in Pakistan, current position, future plans, prospectus of upcoming LNG terminals and interstate pipelines. The no business starts without projecting the demand. And no other than Mr. Abdul Rashid Jokhio Saab, currently the DG in Ministry of Energy, who is the best and has an engineering degree and a master's in management and economics from Italy. He has been instrumental in policy and regulatory related matters of mid and downstream sectors of natural gas. Please have a warm welcome to Mr. Jokhio.
So ये उस तरफ बाउंस कर दिया करें अच्छा चेंज करेंगे
आप आगे इधर से करेंगे, ये सिर्फ आपकी कन्वीनियंस के लिए है।
यहाँ से
अगर
हो सकता
आपने
है
यहाँ से पढ़ना, यहाँ से इधर नीचे करते जाए,
ठीक
ओके, बाकी वहाँ पे है।
जी Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you for the generous introduction by the panelists, by the OGRA. I will start my presentation with it's a brief 8 slides. So I'll focus on more the core issues being faced by the country. We start with this will be the sequence of presentation. I'll just give you an overview of the current energy supplies consumption of the country based on the HDIP report of the last year. Then I'll highlight the energy supplies by source, gas consumption in the sectors, followed by our indigenous gas production, its past, and the projections, how it will look like without doing nothing. I mean, without investing in the areas where there's a potential to explore, there'll be obviously decline in the production. Then we have future gas outlook. This is kind of a work done by WoodMac, and it will just give you an overview that if we do not aid any natural gas, then obviously our reliance on other fuels, LNG, virtual LNG, LPG, would continue to remain. Then the indigenous gas potential, which is already here in the country, and God has blessed us a lot of potential, but obviously it needs exploration and a lot of investment. Then the key challenges, opportunities. I'll just also put some shade on the interstate pipelines in the LNG. Yeah, I understand.
यहाँ से तो है,
ठीक है,
ये वाला यहाँ से होगा, या आप करते
मैं
जाए,
कर रहा हूँ.
या आप यहाँ से
No, I'm okay with this.
वहाँ से फिर ये आपकी कन्वीनियंस के लिए है।
ठीक।
जो आपने फिर ऑडियंस के लिए यहाँ से फॉरवर्ड करेंगे आप,
Sure. Okay.
इधर से आप आगे फॉरवर्ड करते जाएं, इस तरफ करके डायरेक्शन, इधर डायरेक्शन करके।
Okay. So I love this kind of graph, which is produced by HDIP. This is kind of the transformation of energy produced in the country and imported also, and in other forms like transformation. You can see here the use, the final energy consumption. Then there's a non-energy use. It goes like from 82 tons of oil equivalent and broken down into various segments. And obviously going down, it goes like industry consumes 14,000 million tons of oil equivalent, then transport, domestic, other entities, and commercial and agriculture. Agriculture obviously is a fertilizer sector. So again, on the left, we have this kind of the composition of the energy mix in the country. it is predominantly, we can see LNG gas is a 39% contributing in the energy supplies. Then on the right, we have this broken down sector of the gas, which is kind of sectoral consumption. Here we can see the largest consumer is power. Then we have a domestic, followed by fertilizer industry, and there are minor like commercial CNG and cement. So, as Imran and others have spoken about, domestic side is the side where we have inefficiency, no value addition, but obviously it is more driven by socio-political agenda of the government. So this slide gives us a past of our production and projections. Production as of today is also the same, 3,300. And in the past, I would highlight that in 2011-12, we peaked in our production. That's roughly we were like 4,300 MMCFD, which now we are at 3,300 MMCFD. This is a raw gas production. So unless we make investments in the new horizons, especially in Baluchistan and frontier Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we'll be kind of having decline, which is 7 to 8%. And obviously that decline has to be arrested because demand is there. We talk about much of time what demand is. There hasn't been any empirical study on the demand side. Although we are trying, we have kind of engaged Wood Mackenzie to firm up the demand. That result will come sooner or later, obviously. But that study will give us some outlook on countries' energy demand. And so the future appears to be kind of oblique. If we do nothing, there will be consistent decline by 2035. We'll have like go down to 1200 MMCFD production. So against the constrained demand, which is 4,000, and unconstrained, which is like 6,000, we'll be left with 1200 MMCFD if we do not invest, if we do not explore the unexplored areas in the country. Yes. This was kind of a study done by Wood Mackenzie, and it reflects that if the indigenous gas discoveries are not taking place and there are no major finds. So I've seen like there hasn't been major discoveries in the past over a decade or so. We have seen like fields like Sui. It used to have kind of 19 TCF of reserves. Now the country's cumulative recovered reserves are 19 TCF, which is like equivalent to the discovery of Sui. Then we have fields like Mari, Zamzama, Kadurpur, all are kind of depleting. Mari is also ongoing. They are producing. So if you do nothing like scenario, then obviously that demand side, which is easiest way to bridge the demand, is import of more LNG. There will always be a question of affordability. There will always be a question of sale price and consumption side. In recent past, we have seen like of scenarios like where LNG was primarily imported for power sector, but we have seen hurdles, we have seen kind of constraints, power not off taking the LNG brought for them. So we were kind of our companies were operationally constrained to divert this LNG to domestic side for their consumption, and resultantly this increases the revenue requirements and obviously the prices of the gas. So the investments are essential to discover till that time, because in this gas E&P industry, obviously, depending on the zone we work, explore, there is a kind of lead time to discovery to be connected with the grid. It takes like 3 to 4 years, 3 to 5 years from the gas discovery, exploration, discovery, production, and connection with the grid. So in the interim, the only source we have is the import of more LNG, LPG to meet the demand. As I told you that there is a potential in the country. So Uh, these are kind of reserves. We are kind of, there's a potential for the reserves which are yet to be explored. Uh, Sindh has been largely explored. Punjab has a potential of shale gas. Balochistan is largely unexplored. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, FATA, these areas are largely unexplored. So we still have the potential of like 66 TCF of gas, uh, 35 to 70 TCF of tight gas, 95 TCF of shale, and there's always an offshore potential because uh, we work in a sea area like where India had a larger discovery. They call it Mumbai High. So there has been a discovery of oil in the past. In our side, we uh, kind of had 18 wells, we tried 18 wells, but I think there wasn't any successful discovery. So there's a potential, obviously, with the new data. Just to let you know, we work with the Chinese, our Navy, and we have kind of redone this seismic in the offshore area. So I think with the new data in place, we might be able to draw down the blocks and award the blocks for the exploration of oil and gas in the offshore. So, so what are the key challenges with the gas sector in the country? Number one, we have the depletion of reserves, silo E&P activities. So depletion of reserves, as I showed you on the graph, is a kind of natural phenomena. So it has to happen. No reservoir is infinite. Every reservoir has to deplete. So unless we aid major finds, the depletion has to be there. We can arrest the depletion with the new finds. Then uh, why E&P companies are reluctant to go for exploration? There's a cash flow issues faced by by these companies. You see, two of the companies are bulk buyers of the gas in the country, one the Swiss Southern, Swiss Northern. E&P sector, obviously, when producers discovers a gas, it requests government to allocate. Depending on the franchise area, we allocate that discovery to that utility gas company. Then, obviously, the end side is like the revision of the consumer gas price. What is the legal frame in place is that we have to revise the prices biannually because the producer price is revised biannually. So consistent with the revision of the producer price, we are supposed to revise the price of the consumer, enabling these bulk buyers utilities to recover the cost and pay to the producer. But this has not been happening since 2013 to 2023. So there's a kind of period of a decade where there hasn't been consistency in the price increases. So what is resulted is accumulation of tariff differential like 1500 billion rupees. These are the amounts which are owed by these utilities. They are supposed to pay to the producer. So unless you pay it back to the producer, they can reinvest and explore new areas. We cannot explore, we cannot anticipate or expect larger shift in the E&P activities because these companies are the public sector companies which have muscle to export, but obviously these exploration activities need investments. Uh, then we have the issue like seasonal demand variation. It has always happened in the country. It is primarily because we have developed a priority order where we have given preference to the domestic side and other categories lower than the domestic. So in winters, we have high demand of domestic. In summers, we have demand of the gas higher from the power side. So this is kind of uh, uh, inefficient merit order, I call it, because as I said, there's no value addition in the domestic side. Gas is consumed. There are alternates available. Over the globe, LPG is used, electricity is used. But here in the country, for reasons, the network has been so expanded, it kind of spans over 200,000 kilometers. So this has to be kind of given consideration. There's a season demand. The demand cannot be constant in a year. Then, as I already stated that There's a circulated, we call it, which is kind of payments toward the producers and importers. A third-party regime, OGRA developed third-party rules back in 2012. Then again, these were revamped in 2018. There's a regulatory frame in work, but obviously there is still a limited access to the network owned by SUI companies. So they should be given kind of open access. Tariff distortions, it starts with the domestic. There's a huge cross subsidy there, which are to be kind of, as per the IMF, we have to eliminate these subsidies. It will take time, but these are to there unless we have a targeted subsidy mechanism. Infrastructure is huge, as I informed, over 200 kilometers of 200,000 kilometers of infrastructure. So opportunities in the backdrop of challenges, there are opportunities also. We can invest in the areas where there are potential for the gas, like tight shale and natural gas. But this also requires lot of investment in, obviously, improvement in the health of the companies to reinvest. There has been talk on the restructuring of the sector where we do unbundling of SUI companies. This has been an issue, has been there for the debate. I recall it was decided in 2003 to unbundle these companies. But it's been 2 decades, we could not be able to kind of do any devise a plan or to do anything on this. So government has to see on this also. Then the price signals. One part, there's in the overall orders that the consumer prices are to be determined, notified by government. This is a side where inefficiency comes into play. I have not seen like government consistent in revision of prices. So that part has to be given to the regulator. To my humble view is this should not rest with the government, because as of now it is created an inefficiency and a circular debt of 1,500 billion. So it has to rest with the regulator to decide. But obviously this will require amendments in the overall ordinance. Then there is obvious to bring the new players of LNG and the virtual LNG, market liberalization has to be there. The buyer should have the option to buy gas from any of the sellers, whether it is in the form of LPG, virtual LNG, or LNG. And the grid access should be universal for any seller, any importer who wants to import should have access to the grid, and there should be kind of easy way to give them access rather than kind of going through stringent requirements. So market liberalization should be there. Then, as I already said, cross subsidies are inefficiencies. Those are to be gradually shifted, and we should go on a actual cost of recovery. Investments infrastructure, the current infrastructure is huge and prone to leakages, UFG. It also needs investment rehab activities. So this part can be done with the kind of unbundling of the SUIs and asking other investors to chip in and invest into this. Thank you. And I have been asked to just give a glimpse, like we have two transnational pipeline projects we have been following for decades. One is the TP and IP, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan, in India pipeline project. This project has the prospect, but unless there's a political stability in the Afghanistan and the government of Afghanistan is globally recognized, there won't be any work progress on this pipeline project. IP will always face a sanction, and I see like it will continue to face like similar situation unless the relationship between Iran and US improves and we get go ahead on this project. As per the Woodmac study, there's an appetite in the market. It is driven by the price. So LNG can chip in and fill that gap and meet the demand of the consumer. Thank you.
Thank you, Jokyo sir. The next presentation is from Engro. From Engro, we have Mr. Mazhar Hasnani. He is currently the CEO of Engro Vopak and Engro LNG Terminal. He has over 2 decades of international and local experience, including 14 years at Engro. Mr. Mazhar has held various positions with Engro Group, including CFO Engro Corporation, Vice President Marketing at Engro Polymer and Chemicals, and Vice President of Corporate Strategy at Engro Corporation. Before joining Engro, Mr. Mazhar spent a decade in finance and advisory positions at Deloitte and Nortel Networks in US and Canada. We also have Mr. Aneek Ahmed. Mr. Aneek is a mechanical engineer and has a master's in business administration. He has been associated with Engro and has mainly worked in the petrochemical industry for 22 years. His expertise is in project execution and supply chain management. He is currently the Chief Operating Officer at Engro Vopak, Engro LNG Terminal. We also have Mr. Yasir Ali, General Manager, Government Affairs from Engro. Topic for this presentation, which will be presented by Mr. Aneek, is LNG supply chain from production to transportation and regasification, LNG technology, innovation and future prospects, next generation LNG carriers, FSRU design efficiency and safety considerations. Ji Aneek sir.
Presentation चला रहे तो सर वो चली वीडियो चल सकती है कनेक्टेड है उससे हाँ कनेक्टेड वहाँ से चला ये उस तरफ चेंज राइट साइड से उस तरफ से सॉरी उस तरफ पॉइंट कर दिया करे तो चेंज हो ठीक है ओके
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम एंड गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीबॉडी श्योर ये मूव दोनों एक ही साथ होंगे
एक साथ में
अच्छा
आपको हाथ से करना पड़ेगा
okay right so assalamu alaikum and good morning everybody this is Aneek. I am representing Engro LNG terminal here. First of all, I would like to thank and appreciate the authority, Chairman Ogra Masoor Sahab, member oil, member finance, and Executive Director LNG, Mr. Imran Akhtar, for providing us this opportunity for all the stakeholders to come here, sit together, discuss about the LNG landscape, what kind of value we can create further in this landscape, and what are the challenges that we are facing right now, and how can we resolve collaboratively in days to come. We all understand that LNG is something that would be essential part of right now it is essential part of our energy mix, and moving forward as well, it would remain be an essential part. So my presentation is basically a very introductory sort of presentation with respect to the LNG market, LNG essential elements of LNG supply chain, and I'll also talk about the innovations that are happening in this specific canvas. So very brief introduction about who we are. Engro LNG terminal is the first terminal that was established in 2015. We have a capacity of 630 mmCFD. Our project was commissioned in record 330 days in 2015. Since last many years, we have been operating it at a full potential. If we talk about our overall footprint through our Vopak network, we have a total holding capacity of 1.4 million cubic meter with a total throughput of 26 million ton. We have 5 assets in total. 1 is in Mexico, 1 is in Colombia, 2 are in Netherlands, and we are also expanding in other parts of the world as far as Vopak is concerned. So if we talk about the key supply chain elements of LNG, obviously it starts from the gas extraction, then comes to the liquefaction of the gas, then transportation, then its regasification, and at the end of the day, dispatch to our consumers. So I'll start off with the world LNG landscape. So this data has been taken from Gigler report that was published last year. We have recently got the new report as well. There is a difference obviously in the numbers, but for reference, I think this will give you a clear view that what is happening in gasification and the liquefaction market. So according to this data, we have in the world, we have total liquefaction capacity of 478 million ton. A new report is basically telling us 481 million ton. There are total 48 units that are working on the liquefaction process. Out of 48, there are 43 plants that are onshore, and there are 5 FLNG units that are being used for the liquefaction. If we talk about the regasification, the total capacity that world has is close to 971 million. According to the recent report that we have got from the Gignell, it is telling us 1,143 million ton capacity that has already been in operational or at least available in the market. If we see the overall distribution of the regasification units, there are total 180 units available in the world, and out of 180, there are 44 FSRU based units, and remaining 136 units are onshore units. So starting off with the liquefaction, the basic process of liquefaction involves the reduction of the temperature of the gas to minus 162 degrees centigrade so that we can reduce the volume up to 600 times. It is extremely essential to have that volume so that we can transport the product from one place to another. The world biggest plant that we have is Sabine Pass plant in US, which has a capacity of 27 million ton per annum. If we talk about the FLNG, FSRU based units, what we call vessel based units, there are only 5 units available in the world. The unit that we have in Western Australia has a maximum capacity of 3.6 million ton per annum. I think its name is Prelude, probably mentioned here. And normally what happens, the vessel-based plants basically complement the onshore units, and they provide sort of a stopgap arrangement till the completion of onshore plants. So these are not very famous. That's why we see a very less number here as far as vessel-based plants are concerned. Moving on to the market. So there are 5 key players that are in the market. If we talk about the liquefaction, US, Qatar, Australia, Malaysia, and Russia. And obviously, US is ahead of everybody at this moment. Their capacities are roughly 88 million ton per annum. A lot of Middle Eastern big boys are investing in US, and we expect a huge outflow by 2030 from US. If we talk about Qatar, Qatar is right now at a capacity of 77 million ton per annum. And they are very aggressive. They are working to have the capacity of 126 million ton per annum by 2026. But with that plan, they have also come up with the new target of expanding themselves at 142 million ton capacity by 2030. So there is huge competition going on. There are projects coming in Australia as well. And this market is growing at an exponential level. What we understand, there was a study done by Shell, which says that the LNG market would grow by 50% by 2040. So one can understand what kind of size of market that we are right now foreseeing in future. If we talk about, so this is the overall canvas of the liquefaction market. I'll move forward to the. This has some issues. Yeah. Right. Thank you. So I have already talked about on the vessel-based liquefaction units. There are only five in number, and the total capacity that they are handling is roughly 12 million ton per annum. Now I'll talk about the LNG carriers. So we can classify LNG carriers in different ways. One way is to classify them based on their structure, based on their design. So there are a number of design variants, but two are famous one. One is Moss type and other is membrane type. So out of more than 668 vessels, we mostly have membrane type vessels. They have efficient in terms of fuel efficiency. They are efficient in terms of space management, and that's why they are more common towards this market. If we talk about Moss type, they are robust in nature. They have their own importance. They have their own qualities. They can handle partial volumes, unlike membrane type of vessels. There are other type of vessels as well, which namely bi-loop vessels, SBM vessels, but I'm not touching here because these are not the common ones. If we talk about the classification of the vessels with respect to size, so we classify them in three categories: small scale, mid scale, and large scale. If we talk about the mid scale, they are ranging between 20,000 cubic meter to 40,000 cubic meter. If we talk about the small scale, they are ranging till 20,000 cubic meter. And then we have large scale vessels that we normally have in Pakistan, and their sizes are beyond 40,000 cubic meter. So in large scale vessels, we also have further classification. Starting off with the conventional one, their sizes ranges between 130 to 170,000 cubic meter. If we talk about Q flexes, their capacity range between 210 to 217,000 cubic meter. And if we talk about the large scale vessels, the highest volume that those vessels handle, these are Q max vessels, which can handle the capacity from 233,000 cubic meter to 266,000 cubic meter. So if we talk about FSRU market, so there are roughly 55 FSRUs that are in the market or under fabrication. As far as the Gigglin report 2024 is concerned, 47 have been deployed, 4 are waiting for their deployment or are being used as LNG carriers, and 3 are under construction. So we expect, according to the new report, that by 2024 and 2024, we will probably have 2 vessels in the market, and then one vessel would come online by 2027. Okay. So if we talk about the regasification